You know that painful moment when you run a page speed test and the score punches you in the face? Yeah, that moment usually has nothing to do with Webflow itself. But if your site feels slow, even though you did everything right, this is the video for you. Here at Flowout, we've optimized over 100 Webflow websites from companies like Kajabi, Jasper and Riverside. And in almost every single one, the real slowdown wasn't hosting or code. It was heavy images, background visuals, sloppy font setups, and a bunch of tiny mistakes that add up. In this video, I'm going to show you the brutal truth behind slow Webflow sites. The stuff that looks harmless but destroys performance underneath. Here's what we'll cover. Why images are almost always the #1 performance killer. And the real reason background images tank load speed instantly. How fonts quietly slow down rendering and what to do to fix it. And why third-party scripts add more weight than you think, including how they load, when they block rendering, and how to control them properly. And make sure you stick around until the end, because I've added a bonus chapter that covers something most Webflow users completely overlook, and fixing it can change your speed score almost instantly. Let's start with the heavyweight champion of slowing down Webflow sites. Images. Even though Webflow does automatic resizing and lazy loading, that covers maybe 20% of what matters. The real problem is what's sitting on the page before any optimization kicks in. Large PNGs, massive JPEGs, hero images exported to white just in case. These things destroy load time, especially above the fold. And then there's the villain most people don't know about: background images. Background images can't lazy load. Webflow doesn't optimize them the same way it optimizes regular EMG tags. So every background image loads immediately, even if the user never scrolls to that section. The harsh truth: most slow Webflow sites are slow because someone used a background image when a normal EMG with object fit cover would have done the same exact thing without the performance penalty. And when you switch these images into WebP, you can cut file size by up to 95% without losing quality. That's why images sit at the top of the brutal truth list. They look small and innocent, until you check your network tab and realize they are the size of Lord of the Rings director's cut movies. But images aren't the only thing blocking the page from showing up. Some problems don't slow downloads, they slow rendering. Fonts feel harmless. You pick a few because they look nice, publish the site and call it a day. But here's the catch. Every font family, weight and style is another file the browser needs to download before it renders your text. Use too many fonts and suddenly your beautifully designed site is sitting there invisible because the browser is waiting for a typeface to load. Webflow tries to help with settings like font display, swap, but even then, every additional font slows down the render path. That's why the golden rule is simple. Use 1 to 3 fonts. Max. Oh, and by the way, system fonts like Arial or Helvetica load instantly. You can preload fonts to speed things up, but doing it wrong can break your CSS or cause layout shifts. It's only worth it if you know your way around custom code and you test everything twice. Fonts are one of those performance issues nobody thinks about, until you remove 3 of them and your speed score jumps. Now here's where things get dangerous. Images and fonts are heavy, but predictable. Third-party scripts are neither. Analytics, chat widgets, tracking pixels, A/B testing tools, ad scripts. Most people add them blindly, and suddenly your site is loading 20 external resources before a single image even appears. These scripts are one of the most common causes for slow website performance. Why? Because many are not optimized and are extremely heavy. And the biggest mistake of all, adding a script to the global footer even though you only use it on one page. That means it loads on every page, even pages that don't need it. Where you place them matters too. The browser reads top to bottom, so if something is stuck in the head block, Nothing shows until it finishes loading. Move them to the footer and suddenly your content appears first. Add async for parallel loading. Add defer when the script interacts with the DOM. And if it's not mission critical, delay it with set timeout option. One chat widget added the wrong way can slow your site more than 20 images combined. It seems wild, but it's true. So here's the bonus I promised earlier. And honestly, these two things are so overlooked that fixing them alone can bump your speed score faster than anything we talked about before. I'm of course talking about video and poor site organization. Videos are the biggest performance trap on Webflow, because most people embed YouTube or Vimeo links directly, thinking it's the easiest option. And it is. But the moment you do that, you're loading YouTube tracking scripts, ad scripts, recommendation engine scripts, additional network requests, and often multiple megabytes of unnecessary JavaScript. All of this for a video that might not even be visible until halfway down the page. What's even worse, you have zero control over when these scripts load, how heavy they are, or how they interact with the rest of your site. That's why performance tanks every time a developer says, let's just embed a YouTube video. If you want clean performance, you need a Webflow optimized video solution. For example, Webflow, which is custom built for Webflow and eliminates ads, loads instantly, avoids buffering delays, and doesn't inject tracking scripts. It just plays the video. Site organization is the sneaky one, because everything looks fine in the designer, but behind the scenes it's chaos. Here's what most people don't know. When you delete an element in Webflow, the class stays, the interaction stays, the style stays, and the CSS still loads in the background, even though the element is gone. So over time, without even noticing, your site collects orphaned classes, unused animations, legacy layout styles, abandoned pages in draft, leftover components, and dozens of I'll fix it later experiments that never got cleaned up. Each one might only add a tiny bit of weight, but after months of updates, it turns into a bloated CSS file that slows your site everywhere. Poor style organization doesn't just make your designer messy, it forces the browser to download and parse way more CSS than needed. And then there's the first section problem. People overload their hero with 4K videos, multiple Lottie animations, high resolution background images, shadows, gradients, effects, and heavy interactions. This single section defines your entire performance score, because everything above default must load instantly before anything else can render. That's why the clean up your site advice is more powerful than it sounds. A single purge of unused classes and animations, plus a lightweight hero rebuild, has saved some of our clients 10 to 20 points on Google page speed just like that. But here's the brutal truth. All that speed is worthless if your content isn't built for AI search. Because AI doesn't rank pages the old way. It ranks pages it can parse, structure, and trust enough to quote in its final answers. So, in the next video, I'll show you exactly how to make your content AI readable, add the right structure data, and build the trust signals AI uses to decide who gets cited and who gets ignored. Click right here and I'll see you there.